Are you clear?
You're clear.
Okay, watch the port side. We're a little close there to the pilings.
If anybody can catch a Skamania, Skip Stafford can. Right now he's jockeying the 33-foot Carver charter boat here out of the port here at New Buffalo, out of the slip. I tell you, it takes some real maneuvering to get it out of here. But we are in the middle of a 2-day hunt right now. We are hunting for Skamania. Now, Skamania are not easy to catch, but it's a fish of the future here in Michigan. Not one that we have right now in our Michigan waters very often, but that's why we're at New Buffalo here. We want to give you a sneak preview of the Skamania, what it's like to catch, what it's like to fish for, and it is a real hunt. I'll tell you that. They are not easy. But New Buffalo, as you can see from the boats down here at this port, is what you'd call a real ritzy port. A lot of people from Chicago have their boats here. There's a lot of sailboats, big cabin cruisers. It's at the mouth of the Galien River, and there are only a handful of charter boats that work out here. The Galien River does not currently have the big plants of salmon and steelhead like many of the other Michigan rivers have. But to catch a Skamania right now, we are here at New Buffalo because it is the most southwestern port in Michigan, close to Indiana. And Indiana DNR has been planting Skamania for how long, Skip?
There probably would be 6.5-year-olds coming back this year, or maybe even 7.5 if they survive that long, and I think they probably do.
Okay, well, Indiana has been a pioneer with the Skamania, and Michigan has been picking up on this. And like all salmon and trout, the Skamania travel up and down the coast, ranging before they head into their home streams to spawn. Now, to give you a little background of what the Skamania is a strain of the steelhead trout, which is a strain of the rainbow trout. Rainbows, of course, when you see them in the streams, rainbow are brightly colored with a bright rainbow pink line down the side. They live in the streams all their lives, and they'll grow to maybe a couple pounds, would be a trophy rainbow in a stream. A strain of the rainbow is a steelhead. Steelhead grow much larger. They are a rainbow trout, but they have developed the characteristic to go out into the big lake, out into the Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Huron. On the west coast, they go out into the Pacific Ocean. When they're out there, they find lots of food, and they grow very large. 6 to 10 pounds is not uncommon to catch for a steelhead. Very feisty fish, known really as the headliner fish in Michigan for its battling. But the Skamania is a strain of steelhead trout, and the thing is, it comes back to spawn in the summer.
Summer run, yeah.
Now, does it actually spawn in the summer, or does it just come back to the stream?
No, it just comes back to the stream in the summer.
Okay, it comes back earlier than many of the other steelhead do, but because it comes back in the middle of the summer, it comes in close, and we're able to catch it. Now, there's some other characteristics of the Skamania, that it's longer, thinner. Maybe you've seen pictures in magazines of the Skamania. It looks more like a torpedo, and do they battle? Jump, tail walk, that's what we're after in this hunt, although we're catching an awful lot of fish. As I said, if anybody can catch the Skamania, it's Skip Stafford. He has quite a reputation down here. And on our boat, on this hunt, we have Bill Swagler from the Michigan Travel Bureau. Bill lined up this trip because he wants to give everybody a preview of what the Skamania, what Michigan has to offer a few years from now in Skamania, plus what New Buffalo is offering right now. Bob Garner, well, he's sort of relaxing right now, but we've been hauling in the fish. We're going to be doing some more of that today, hopefully get a Skamania. Doug Lee was our first mate yesterday, who's a charter captain who works for Skip. Lori Frizzell is doing the first mate job today, but she's also a charter captain with a license.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She takes out boats. That's good to see. But we are heading out into Lake Michigan right now, off of the Galien River. The port is New Buffalo. We're going to be right back with some action of coho, chinook, lake trout, and fingers crossed, maybe a tail-walking Skamania. So you stay tuned. It's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the...
As luck would have it, the first fish we hooked in our great Skamania hunt was a small tail-walking Skamania that hit so close to the back of the boat that it easily broke the water and shook the hook before we could net it. Then later in the morning, I hooked a coho about the same size. It did come clear out of the water, but only once, not like those 15-pound Skamania do. Now, coho can be acrobatic, more so than chinook that are noted for their long, powerful runs. Now, all of these salmon and trout are fun to catch, but we did have our hearts set on the aerial act of the fishing world. Now, the last fish of the 25 we boated in 2 days turned out to be a Skamania, but it was small and battled on the surface. Again, not like those 15-pounders we were hoping for. So while we hauled in fish after fish, Bob Garner and I had a super time, thrilled with each 20-pound Chinook, 10-pound lake trout, and 4-pound coho. But there was a slight disappointment after each one hit, because it didn't come out of the water for our cameras, and we weren't able to show you how these Indiana fish performed. And, well, in a few years they will be available, at least more available, in Michigan waters. Few and far between right now, just because of the numbers and because of the weather, which turned the lake over and scattered the fish and scattered the temperatures. But I found that our captain, Skip Stafford, seemed the most disappointed.
What would you say? 20 pounds? About 18.
You were very disappointed that in the past 2 days we didn't get that tail-walking Skamania. I think you almost took it personally, like it was your fault.
Well,
You know it's not your fault.
let's put it this way. We had 1 out of 2 Skamania that hit. We got 1 in the boat, which is about right. 50% average is pretty close to what happens with Skamania. But they just didn't have the size that I wanted.
They weren't the tail walkers.
No, these were pretty good jumpers, but they just didn't get up and do the tail walking. And of course, one of the most exciting things with Skamania is if and when he does come out of the water and shake the hook, he'll porpoise 2 or 3 times just to say, as if to say to you, ha ha ha. And I like that, of course. And I've had him come up alongside the boat, and I'm talking within 20, 30 feet of the boat, porpoise 4 or 5 times, with either nothing in his mouth or a broken line and a lure hanging from it. And that's exciting.
The Skamania are out in the deeper water where it's a little bit colder that we can't find them. They're just too scattered because of the weather. Right? I mean, this is what has happened. We've had some hard weather the past couple weeks. Last year they were here during this time.
Oh yeah, last year we were getting 12, 15 hookups a trip, big stuff. That's just, of course, we had different seasons. We had a harder winter, and we've had a little warmer spring, which will have a tendency maybe to hold them out a little bit. And then the lake turned over a couple times. See, we want to get the 60-degree water in at the schooling point, which is Daly's Beach off of New Buffalo. That's where they school for the other 2 ports as well. And we need about 60-degree water in there. And the lake's turned over a couple times. I'm not making excuses. I mean, it's just the fact that the big Skamania are somewhere. I don't happen to know where they are. I don't know if anybody does at this point.
Well, we don't even have Skamania native to Michigan yet. Well, we aren't really expecting you to load the boat for us. We thought it would be nice. But, we'd be pretty hard-pressed to be disappointed for the licenses we had on board. 4 licenses and we caught 20 fish. We got 7 lake trout. We got 2 Chinook salmon. This morning we got a rainbow and a small Skamania. I mean, we limited out. And you're walking around moping.
I'm not moping exactly.
You know what the score was back at the dock last night? We heard a boat that got the other boat that got the most got 6.
Well, I guess that's probably right. But it's just something. It's something that I would like to share with yourself and my friend Bill Swagler, and he's caught one before, and it's just so exciting. It's such a good fish that you want to share it with everybody, and I just wasn't able to do it. I'll have to have you back in a few weeks or something if you got the time to do it with you, because it's going to be a couple weeks yet. Well, we want to thank Captain Skip Stafford. He really did a job. There they were, 5 limits of salmon and trout taken over 2 days. There weren't any Skamania that performed for our cameras the way we'd hoped, but we gave it our best, and it made an extremely enjoyable Skamania hunt, and I would call that a very successful outing in Michigan outdoors. Of course, what Captain Stafford was talking about in the lake turnover, it happens to many of the lakes, especially with the high winds we've had recently, is the wind will blow across the lake and the warm water will stack up against one shore. The cooler water will come underneath, and that's what's called the turnover. It happens in inland lakes and even in the Great Lakes. Made the fishing kind of tough, at least pushes them out deeper.